welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to help you cut through the noise, get right to those moments of real understanding quickly and thoroughly.
Exactly. No overwhelm, just insight.
And today we're doing something really fascinating. We're diving deep into wisdom from, over 2,500 years ago. But it feels incredibly current.
It really does.
We're talking about Laozi, the legendary kind of mysterious ancient Chinese sage.
Right, living around 500 BCE. Interestingly, that's roughly the same time as Heraclitus over in Greece, a period of profound thought globally.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to really unpack Laozi's core philosophy. Our source material frames it around the Tao and this unique perspective on motion.
Yeah, and we want to connect his, intuitive observations about how the world works to what we understand today through science, things like systems thinking and efficiency.
Expect some surprises, maybe some aha moments about the fundamentals. Yeah. The sources we're drawing from today are compiled in Laozi, the sage who saw the rhythm. It gathers his teachings and, importantly, places them in this broader philosophical and scientific context.
It's a great lens for this. So where should we start? Laozi himself. The mystery.
Let's do that. Laozi, the reputed author of the Dao De Jing, foundational text for Taoism. But who was he really?
Well, that's the thing. It's intriguing because the historical details are pretty hazy. Sparse records, some contradictions. It just adds to the enigma.
But the ideas, they've lasted millennia.
Undeniably. And the depth of the Dao De Jing is just incredible. His central idea, the Dao, usually translated as the way or the path.
It wasn't just an abstract concept for him, was it?
No, not according to this interpretation. He seems to have seen it as something you could observe, something you could feel in nature's behavior, like a structured, rhythmic, flowing motion.
And he knew words were tricky here.
Absolutely. That famous opening line. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. That language couldn't fully capture this essence.
So how did he try to convey it?
Through paradox, through metaphor, using language that evoked rhythm and flow rather than trying to pin it down directly.
Which brings us neatly to one of his best metaphors, water.
Yes. Water.
He taught that harmony with the Tao is like water's flow. He said, the supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It flows to low places loathed by all men. Therefore, it is like the Tao.
And again, for Laozi, this wasn't just poetry. Water was a perfect example of these dynamic, structured patterns in action.
How so?
Well, think about it. Water is always seeking equilibrium, right? It adapts. If it meets resistance, it flows around it.
It doesn't just stop.
Exactly. And it carves canyons, not through brute force, but through relentless adaptive movement over time.
It makes you rethink how things change, how stability happens.
Right. Maybe the world isn't static. Maybe it's this constant process of, as the source calls it, rhythmic resolution, a kind of natural dance between motion and countermotion, always finding a balance. That's what Laozi seems to be pointing to.
That's a really powerful image, and it flows right into another key concept, yin and yang.
Yin and yang. Now, Laozi didn't invent the terms.
No, they were older.
Right. But his teachings really enriched the philosophy, particularly this idea that balanced rhythms are fundamental. For him, this duality wasn't about conflict.
What was it then?
Synchronization, a dynamic synchronization.
Okay, unpack that. Yin is?
Yin is seen as the more passive, receptive motion. Think stability, holding patterns. Yang is the active, dynamic motion, movement, change, redistribution.
So not opposites fighting, but phases.
Exactly. Phases in a continuous rhythmic interplay, always moving towards equilibrium or complementary parts of a bigger, balanced whole, like different states of motion in a cycle.
He had that quote, didn't he? Something like, when people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly.
Yes. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other. High and low depend on each other.
It perfectly shows how these aren't fixed opposites, but relative points in a dynamic system. Like rhythmic poles in these structured loops, always shifting.
Precisely. Which naturally leads us to one of his most famous and maybe most misunderstood ideas, Wu Wei.
Wu Wei.
Yeah,
often translated as non-action or effortless action.
Right. And that non-action translation can be misleading. It's really crucial to get that it's not about being passive or just, doing nothing.
So what is it? The source calls it motion mastery.
That's a good way to put it. A mastery of movement, of flow. Laozi said, act without doing, work without effort.
Okay, but what does that mean practically? How do you act without doing? Sounds like a paradox.
It is a bit paradoxical. It means aligning your actions with the natural rhythmic patterns of things, avoiding unnecessary resistance, avoiding friction.
Like the water flowing around the rock.
Exactly like that. Or think of a sailor using the wind, or a surfer riding a wave. They aren't fighting the power of the wind or water.
They're harnessing it.
They're positioning themselves so that the natural structured motion does the heavy lifting for them. It's about tuning your own sync loop, your own patterns, to those larger universal rhythms.
So you achieve more with less effort.
You get maximum efficiency with minimal energy spent. You're working with the grain, not against it.
You know that feeling when you're totally in the zone? Like playing music or sports or even just deep in thought. You're not forcing it, you're just flowing.
That's the feeling, yes. And remarkably, this isn't just some philosophical ideal. It resonates with modern science.
How so?
Well, think about concepts like systems efficiency or paths of minimal energy in physics. The principle of least action. Nature tends towards efficiency. Laozi saw this intuitively just by observing.
It's incredible. His ideas really go way beyond just personal contemplation. He was describing principles we now see in complex systems.
Absolutely. He said nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished.
I love that line.
It speaks to this vision of reality as harmonic synchronization. Everything finding its place, resolving itself through these structured rhythmic patterns of movement. Not chaos, but an underlying order in the flow.
And you see this everywhere in science now.
You do. Atoms forming through rhythmic synchronization. Biological life, syncing metabolic loops with environmental cycles like day and night or seasons.
Climate systems, ecosystems, they stabilize through these balancing rhythmic cycles.
Precisely. So Laozi's ancient insights on the Tao really feel like an early grasp of this fundamental truth, that dynamic structured motion is the fabric of reality.
Which is even more amazing when you think about that specific time period, around 500 BCE, this kind of sync point in history.
Right. You have Heraclitus in Greece, Laozi in China, Buddha in India, all independently converging on this idea that motion, change, or impermanence is fundamental.
Though they looked at it slightly differently.
Yes. Their focus varied, which is fascinating in itself. Heraclitus seemed more focused on the external, the cosmic fire, the relentless universal change. You can't step in the same river twice.
Okay, and Laozi?
Laozi, as we've seen, centered more on environmental motion, natural rhythms, finding equilibrium within the flow of the Tao.
And Buddha?
Buddha turned inward, exploring psychological motion, the impermanence of the self, the arising and passing away of thoughts and feelings, the dissolving nature of identity.
Wow. So continents apart, they were revealing different facets of the same underlying truth. That reality, the environment, even our sense of self, they're all fundamentally structured forms of motion or process.
It's quite profound, and this is where that motion theory framework our source uses tries to bridge the gap. It suggests it's a way to formalize what Laozi perceived intuitively.
How does it connect?
It helps articulate Laozi's ideas in modern terms. Reality emerges from these structured rhythmic cycles. Natural balance is like dynamic systems finding equilibrium. And Wu Wei, that effortless action,
is about syncing your own patterns to the larger rhythms.
Exactly. Optimizing your energy, your effort by aligning with the universal flow.
And Laozi figured this out without complex math or computers. Just observation. Poetry.
Observation, poetry, paradox, rhythm. He used the tools he had to express something science is now validating with its own tools. It's like he heard the music of the universe.
Nature is a motion symphony, the source says. Our job is to learn how to listen.
That captures it well. Laozi was truly a master of motion awareness. He saw that the fundamental truth wasn't static things, but flowing rhythms, synchronized loops of interaction.
And maybe his deepest secret, the big takeaway for us. You don't control motion, you become it.
And that really lands, doesn't it? It highlights the timeless relevance of these ideas. They're not just abstract philosophy about nature.
No, they're about our own lives, our actions.
Right. The Tao, Yin Yang, Wu Wei. They offer a practical path towards, efficiency, harmony, maybe even a sense of ease by learning to align with these natural patterns.
It really challenges that impulse to always control, to force things. Maybe real mastery lies in understanding and participating in the flow.
It prompts that question, doesn't it? Where are you resisting the current in your life? Pushing against the natural rhythm.
And where could you instead try to apply this principle? Try to become motion, find that effortless path, that wu-wei state, to achieve things with maybe greater ease and less friction.
Something Laozi saw mirrored everywhere in the natural world.
Definitely something to think about. We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights to carry forward.